Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Good in Mzansi with me, your host, Jared Petzer. I hope everybody's doing well today and are keeping in a positive mind frame and a positive state of mind. We are joined today by a very special guest, and we are going to be talking about a number of things. One of them is training naked. So please welcome Pierre du Plessis. How are you, my friend?
Doing well yourself, Jared. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Good, man. Good. I'm glad to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to, man. How's life treating you in lockdown?
In lockdown, lockdown's been a bit crazy and cool in a weird way.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously locked in here, my little panic room of an office.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of fun because I normally work from home most of the time anyway, and it's fun to have my family and stuff here all the time with all their craziness.
Yeah.
So it's been good, and at the same time, obviously, like stressful and worried and anxious and all these other crazy stuff, and trying to hold everything together and hold all the people that we know together, trying to check in with everybody. Is everybody okay? Like all of that. And at the same time, it's really exciting because stuff is changing, and that's always interesting. Yeah.
I have a friend of mine. Their family just before the lockdown came to visit them from all over the world, and they all ended up at their house. So everyone's there. They've got like 20 people in their little home, and so like they are like stuck with family. I was just talking to them. I'm like, it's wonderful, in inverted commas.
Yeah. That's sort of crazy because I know, like, I don't know, extended family is a different story because there's a Dutch saying that I love that says family and fish go off after 3 days.
Yeah.
Which seems about right. Like, okay, long enough.
Unless you buy it from Sainsbury's and then it doesn't expire, you know. I remember going to the UK. I bought myself a couple of peppers, and I forgot them in the fridge like 3 weeks later. And I came back to the fridge and they were like pristine. They were like shining and like plump. And I was like, "There's something wrong with this food."
Yay, GMO.
Yeah. Anyway, just talking nonsense here. So listen, I mean, so you like to train. You've just written a book called Train Naked. Tell us a little about the book.
So the book is actually a compilation of like daily thoughts and meditation. So I've been running this daily email for a couple of years, which I send out to like a couple of hundred people, and it's just like it started off as a sort of an online journal for myself, where I used to in the past really struggle with like mental health issues and depression. So it was like a way for me to kind of start and make sense of it, and just share my journey with it. And then I started like sending it out, and eventually we had like a couple of hundred of these posts. And I was approached by somebody to say, let's kind of compile it in a book and make it this sort of like a daily meditation thing that you can read through. So there's like 200 odd or 250 something posts that's captured in this book. And the whole training naked thing is a concept that I came across. There's a friend of mine, Tom Smith. He actually taught me about it. I dedicated the book to him as well. Like, so it's this word in Greek, or in ancient Greek, that means that we get the word gymnasium from.
Yeah.
So it's like gymnos. Yeah. So it means it literally means, to be translated, it means to train naked, like in the buff, like nude. So which is like this crazy concept, and because they used to train naked in like the Greek gyms, and in the Olympics they used to compete in the nude, and this is like such a fascinating thing because like, can you imagine? I mean, like, gym is weird enough. Like, so if you can imagine gym and then everybody's naked and you're like in a spinning class, and like I always tell people, like, you don't want to be like at the back, you just want to like be at the front if you're like in a nude spinning class. So anyway, I digress. But so this concept of training naked is like to show up just as you are, without any pretense, without any BS, without any kind of masks or fake. It's just like where are you right now, and you want to start training yourself to become a better person. Like what is the person that you want to be? Who do you want to be? How do you want to respond to the world instead of just reacting to it? So it's like putting practices and training sort of exercises in place in your life on a daily basis that help you actually just become like a better human. Yeah.
Listen, I mean, so life has got away with just moving along, and sometimes, you know, we'll get a book like yours, or we'll have an aha moment, whatever the case is. But life is just happening constantly, and I think like we've now got in the situation where we're stuck in our homes and we are in lockdown. How important do you think it is to use this time to be able to use a book like yours and the tools that are in your book, and be able to reflect back on that and try and apply them now? Because this is ideally the time that we want to be working on ourselves, correct?
Yeah, it is. It is and it isn't. It's always great to buy a book like mine. But I was actually asked, I did a session with a friend of mine and their company like yesterday, and they asked the same question, like, is it too late to start training? I was like, yeah, it is. You can't start training in the middle of the freaking marathon. Like, it's too late. So, but you can. I mean, obviously, it's never too late to start a proper routine, a proper rhythm, and proper practices, and all these things. I was a friend of mine. He does the Epic like every year. Obviously, not this year. And he always says like, no, it's fun, because he rides his bike like on weekends, and he's like fairly fit. And then he says, you know, the Epic is great because you just ride yourself fit the first 2 days. I was like, dude, I don't think that's the way you should do it. I think you're going to get hurt. I said, no, you become fit, and then by like the 3rd day you're fit, and then you can finish the race. It's like, okay, well, that is one way to do it. Yeah. But this time to be locked in a lockdown is like a really good time to start any kind of practices you want, because we have time. Yeah. Because normally we say we don't have the time, although you know, you would if you make it a priority. But so it is a good time to start training and to do some cool practices and things that can help you.
What inspired you to start doing these posts? Was it just something that you just had these ideas, these little epiphanies, and you wanted to just put them out there?
Yeah, so I feel like my life's mission is, I'm a teacher. My mom's a teacher, my wife's a teacher, and I feel like I'm a teacher, not in school for school kids. I think I'd kill them, but like just to fulfill that role in the universe, or whatever you want to call it, is to like be this teacher and to try and inspire people. So I often feel like I've been sort of called to live in a glass house, to wear my heart on my sleeve, and to sort of show all my struggles and all my glorious nudity to the whole world, and then tell people, well, these are the mistakes that kind of I made, and this is how I'm trying to manage to go through life. Do you want to walk with me? So I'm like, I always tell people, like, she stole this from another writer, but it's such a good line. It's like, I don't have an elevator pitch. I take the stairs. Yeah. Do you want to walk with me? Mm. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, or feel that I should do, is trying to get people to walk with me, trying to figure out how do we live meaningful lives, and how do we like do work that matters, like, you know, just like make cool stuff.
So, I mean, everybody that does public speaking and stands up there and just like bears their soul out to the audience, they always have this this angle, or this position. I mean, what is your why when you get up there? What is your what is your message mostly when you stand up there?
Where's my message when I talk to people?
We're all screwed. Really good. Everybody's screwed.
Like I like invite people on it. Like I try to invite people on a journey back to themselves, like just to like get in touch with who you are. And I really like don't like the title like motivational speaker. Yeah. I want to get a T-shirt that says I'm not a motivational speaker the next time I go on stage. Yeah. Because like it just reminds me of back in the day when everybody jumping on chairs, going yeah. And I don't think I do that. What I tell people, and what I want to tell everybody, is that you're enough. Like that you have everything that you need. Yeah. Like everything that you think you don't have, you do have. Yeah. And everything that you see inside of somebody else, or in another business or whatever, you actually have it already inside of you. Like so, and because that's what I struggle with. Like I'm so envious all the time, and then I think looking at that guy and this guy and you know whatever, but then coming back to that realization, but I recognize that in somebody else because it's already in you, in me. Yeah. And so that's sort of what I want to invite, and just for people to make awesome work. Like that's like I think human beings are so incredible. Like we can make just cool stuff. Almost swore there a little bit, like almost like cool stuff. Yeah. So and I want people to make cool stuff. Like we human beings are designed to be tool makers, or we have evolved to be tool makers. Yeah. This is what we do. That's why our hands work like that. Yeah. Like and not like that. Yeah. So we can hold tools.
Yeah.
Right. And in times like these, when stuff gets really crazy, I think, we need to make tools, make something that will fix this. Like, I want people to just make cool stuff and do good work and do work that matters. So I can like rave on about it like forever and ever. But yeah.
I was on my group a little bit earlier on today, and there was this post that came up, and it was a woman that had run out of paint. And what she did was she took the last little granules in a Rick coffee tin. She added a little bit of water, and she used a paintbrush and some coffee, and she did the most amazing drawing you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
It's like the craziest thing ever. And I've seen so much of it actually lately. People will find stuff that real terminal, you'll think it's junk and it's rubbish. But if you just, sometimes people will look at something and they already see the finished product in their mind. They already see what they want to. And when we're looking at trash, they're looking at opportunity. And I think that was such a powerful thing that you just said now, because we are designed to create. That's what we are. We are designed. We were put here to build and to create and to challenge the status quo. And otherwise, we would still be, like with no flippers and lurking in the ocean, if that's where we came from, or whatever the hell we used to be. But I mean, it's we've got such a limited time, but so much beauty around us and so much to draw inspiration from. And instead of us trying to look at other people and be envious of them, we should be drawing inspiration from people, I think, and using that to create our own beauty in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
I mean, there's a if I can jump in there, like there's a great word. It's a word that I love, like a description. It's a French word. I'm sure I butcher it when I say it. Like, it's bricolier. And a bricolier is somebody that makes something from stuff that they found. Like, so it's this whole, like, almost like a genre of artist.
Yeah.
And or engineer or scientist, like making stuff from something that you found. And like, for example, like the ultimate bricolier is like MacGyver. If you remember MacGyver, if you're old enough to remember MacGyver, like MacGyver is like, he finds like a piece of toilet paper and a match and makes a freaking satellite dish or something, like that guy. And I think, like, I love that term, like, to be a bricolier. Like, I think MacGyver is like my saint at the moment, like Saint MacGyver, that helps us to make stuff out of seemingly trash, like you said. I think that's like the coolest thing ever. Yeah, just use what you have. Like, what do you have in your hands? Then use that, make that, like, do something. Yeah,
exactly. Tell us about liminal space. I mean, this is not a term I've ever heard before. It's like something that's completely bizarre to me, and it just sounds so delicious. I almost want to eat it. What is it?
Yeah, it does sound like Limno's Bakery. Like, if you can tell me what Limno's Bakery is. Yeah. So it does sound like that. So liminal space, it's always like weird for me when people don't know it, because I've been working with it for so long. Like 10, 15 years or something. And liminal space is an in-between space. The word liminal means threshold, to be standing like in a doorway or in a hallway. Like, so you've left the one room, but you've not yet stepped into the next room. So it's like an in-between space.
Okay.
And these spaces exist in our society, and they happen to us in our lives all the time. So they can be positive or negative. Usually they're negative. Like, usually it's a traumatic experience that creates a liminal space.
Yeah.
And what happens is, like, there's the old world, right? You know everything. It's safe and nice and fuzzy and warm, and it's just known, right? And then an event happens, and you get shoved into liminal space, or normally vomited into liminal space, or something like that. So, for example, you get fired, or you get retrenched. Right? Or there's a big virus that, somehow goes across the whole world, not that would ever happen. So, and then everything that breaks down, and it's gone. It's irreplaceable. You can't go back. You can't fix it. It's broken and gone. But the key about liminal space is you're not yet at the new place. So you're in the in-between space, in like the twilight zone.
Like limbo.
Like at an airport.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's you don't know what it's going to be like. So, for example, if you were retrenched, and that creates like a liminal space, all that time in between, up until you get a new job, and then what it's like being at the new job, all of that time is liminal space.
Yeah.
Like a chaotic kind of upset time.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it is that it has very specific characteristics, things that happen within a liminal space. And if you approach it in the right way, you will be able to create like positive change. Yeah. Like, you can grow. Yeah. Like, so that's like I mean, that's like the human thing. Like, we only grow through trauma, and when things change and when things are difficult, that's when we grow, right? So if you engage in the right way, you'll grow and you create positive change. It's like, yeah, like I said, it's the only times we do it. And the rest of the time, we're like, you know, if you want to just lie on the couch and watch Netflix and eat chips or whatever, like, we don't want to change. It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
But liminal space forces us to change. So if you approach it in the right way, it can be incredible.
So there's so much that I can relate to in what you were saying now, because I've been down that road so many times, you know, where you have these wonderful opportunities that happen, then all of a sudden things don't work out the way you want them to work out. You end up falling into that space and you think that your life is over. And then slowly but surely you learn to start taking steps again forward, and you eventually start getting into that place again where the momentum restarts and it starts to rebuild and the opportunities come again, and then you fall flat again. And like, it's just, yeah, it's like a merry-go-round, right?
Yeah. It's called growing up.
Or just growing old, maybe.
Growing up, growing old. Yeah, like that's the way we grow. I think there isn't another way. Like, so, I mean, everywhere around us, we see that. Like, you have to, like, spring follows winter, day follows night. Like, life is always made from death in some way. I had a friend of mine who's a vegan and went to a nursery to get some fertilizer. And the woman he used, like, what's the best fertilizer? It's like, well, you've got this one. It's got blood and bone meal in it. It's like, no, he wants a vegan fertilizer. It's like, well, you really want life. Like, you really want good, strong plants, you need like bone meal and blood. It was like, because circle of life vibes, right? Nothing against vegans, of course, but like, that's just an interesting story for me. That
what did you do?
And life, like, well, I think it went with some vegan fertilizer and stuff, but it's not as great. Like, even you'll say that it's not as great. Like, it doesn't really do the job. I suppose you can get more like humane fertilizer with blood in it. I don't know. But yeah, so life and death go together. Like, they always fit together. So, and we don't like that. So we don't like when stuff changes, and we don't like when there's disruption to our lives and we have to change jobs or move into a smaller place or like not buy as much wine or, you know, whatever. Like, we don't like that. We like stuff to be the same.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what our little lizard brain wants. It wants to keep us safe. So it wants stuff to be the same.
Yeah.
And what liminal spaces do, and like this lockdown time, it shifts everything. And now all of a sudden you have to deal with that. And the way that you move through it is obviously really important. Like, so to not deny it, to not like drown yourself in alcohol and homemade pineapple beer, or, you know, to really, that's the first step actually, to really feel it, to really feel that pain and that discomfort and that all that awfulness.
Yeah.
Is the first. It's like, that's so important in chaos and in liminal space, like to stop and then feel, to acknowledge, yes, this is happening, this is awful.
Yeah.
And because then you can move forward. Pain is the key to actually the whole process. But yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting take, you know, and what you said is so true, because people don't like change, but it's the only thing that is a constant in our lives, is this evolution. I mean, I've had some wonderful times in my life, and I've had some very, very bad times, you know, and you know, those bad times seem to more than anything completely shift the direction in which you're going. And very much these things are final. They're final in their making. You know, if you lose a loved one, it's final. There's no going back. If you've lost the home you used to once live in, it's gone. There's no going back. And these are things that we have to learn to accept and to deal with. And it's not always easy. I mean, sometimes it's very, very difficult. And I think it gives you the sense of melancholy sometimes, you know. Me personally, and I try not to harbor too much on those thoughts. Now, do you think that's healthy when you try to push those thoughts out of your mind and you try to focus on what's right in front of you?
I don't think it's healthy to suppress emotion. Right. So the thing with emotion, like, it's a weird thing. If you suppress one, you suppress them all. Like, you can't choose. You can't selectively push down only the sadness and then still be joyous. It doesn't work like that. So if you numb one, you numb them all. And I think one of the big challenges is we tend to avoid our own pain and our own suffering and our own sense of loss. Because what you're describing is loss, and loss is like a massive part of what it means to be a human being.
Yeah.
Like, because we move on and we can remember what we had. I mean, like, I always wonder, like, our family is like we used to be like a hunting family who go hunting. I don't know. I know some people have problems with that, but you know.
No, for vegan,
So,
vegan stock, obviously.
The vegan people, we're making fertilizer for like. So no, but so and what's always interesting for me, what I always notice is like, so I don't really enjoy hunting that much, but like, when one of the animals die, like, so when there's a herd and you shoot one and they drop, the rest run like 10 meters and then start eating grass again. I was like, there's no sense of like loss, at least like not in like antelope. Maybe elephants and whales is different, but like there's no sense of loss. And our ability as human beings to be traumatized, right? Yeah. To see something happen and feel that loss is what makes us human. Yeah. So it helps us to have sympathy with one another and to say, but I can see that you are experiencing the same pain and the same loss that I've experienced in the past.
Yeah.
And therefore I can help you. And to deny that emotion is to deny what makes us human. Like a large part of it is our awareness of our own mortality and pain and death and all of that. Yeah. And then the moment you try and dodge that, you're actually dodging your own humanity, and it doesn't work. Because after a while, that thing, it's like a pressure cooker. So you press it down in the one space, and then you can hold it there for a while, and then after a while, it just pops out the other end.
Yeah.
Right. So, and onto your kids or onto your job, or like you have to go through it.
Yeah.
And like you can't go around it. Like it's in every single freaking story. Like I'm kind of obsessed with like legends and myths and heroes and all of that. And in every story, the hero has to go down into the depths of hell or Hades, or in Pinocchio, he has to go into the whale. Like every single story, you have to go down into the darkness before you can come out the other end. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
And to keep on dodging that doesn't work. So like, so for me, what I will try and teach people is like, feel the pain, like feel it, let it like hit you full force. And like, because then you can go through it. Then the pain can actually do its work. And the purpose that pain has is like, so in like an initiation ceremony. So there's this guy named Victor Turner, anthropologist, who talked a lot about liminal space. He wrote this fantastic book in the 1960s called The Ritual Process. And in it, he described initiation ceremonies. An initiation ceremony, which you get in every single culture, right, across the world. We don't do them as much anymore, which I think is a mistake, but in Western culture at least. But like an initiation ceremony is a manufactured liminal space, right? It's like an engineered liminal space. It takes you out of your normal, out of the home where the mother is, the archetypal mother, places you in this intense, extreme situation, which is not normal, where the rules kind of change completely. And then that process forces you into the new world. And you can't go back to the old ever, right? So, but in every single initiation ceremony, there's pain, right? Pain that is either physical pain or emotional pain. People, circumcision, scarring, walking across coals, being hazed in varsity, or beaten with a paddle, or being shoved out into the cold in only your underwear, or like or like emotional pain, being shamed, being this, being that, and that serves a very, very specific purpose. Like it makes you disconnect from the mother, like the archetypal mother that'll say, "Oh, don't worry. Here's a cookie. Have a hot cross bun, or whatever it is. Like eat something." Like, because nobody consoles you in initiation. Nobody goes, "Oh, we know we cut your face for scoring, but that's okay. We'll give you a Band-Aid." That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like, so that's very specific. So if we avoid the pain, we can never go to the new world.
So let's just touch on that for a second. I mean, so what does that do? That teaches you how to console yourself. I mean, you learn how to process that feeling that you're going through right there and then.
Yeah.
And you also plan your retaliation.
Yeah. And obviously, like initiation ceremonies, when done terribly, can go horribly wrong. Like, and I'm obviously not advocating that. And obviously, like our society has like invented rites of passage, which which suck, like downing a bottle of whiskey. Like, that's not a rite of passage. Like, you might think it is, but it's not really.
Yeah.
Like, you're just
like
harming yourself. Like, it's not the same thing. Like, just sleeping with a random person is like a rite of passage. Like, no, it's not. Like, it's childish. Yeah. So the point of it is to like disconnect you from the mother, but at the same time, when the pain happens and you have to self-console, you remember who you are, like what you have been taught, and how to survive, and you can pull on those resources. So what the old world or the mother world has taught you, like your identity that was formed in that world, actually comes to the surface in a liminal space. Like, your character is revealed, because that's what liminal space does. It reveals like true character. And then you can use that character, like you said, to take a step forward, to like, I can move, to remember, but I can handle this. I can do this. I know how to do this. I have skills. I have talents. I can make a plan. I can start a business. I can do this. I can do that. Like, but you can only get there once you've let the pain hit you. So that's kind of how I think it works, how I've experienced it and seen it work.
And this is my personal experience, is that every time you come through that, you grow this layer, you grow this layer of skin that helps you to process those things, and you see them coming sometimes. It also teaches you, like, aha, I see what that is. I've been through this before. Brace yourself. I mean, I don't know if you can relate to that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, so I'm a big fan of meditation. I'm not a meditation teacher. I don't pretend to be one, like, online. I don't play one online or whatever, but I do every now and again teach people and kind of try and help them to figure it out, because I really love it, and I've been doing it just for like a really, really long time. And one of the big gifts of it is to recognize your own BS, like to be able to see it, to go, oh, there, I see you. Just keep moving, just keep moving, just keep moving, and go out the other side. Like, it doesn't work. Like, and this is what meditation teaches you, the training practice, the training naked of sitting every day in silence for 20 minutes, is like to not block it. Like, to not say, I see you, you're going to harm me, and then I'm going to try and block you out of my mind or out of my life. It doesn't work, because you just make it stronger. So you have to let it in, and then just let it cross, and just go out the other side.
Fascinating conversation, and I mean, a lot of reality, a lot of truth there. On meditation, right? I mean, meditation has been something that at one point I got very into it, and it helped me, because I suffer a lot from anxiety, like terrible anxiety, and it manifests itself in such strange ways. Like, I talk really quickly, and like I do really quickly, and everything I do is like super fast, and also it creates these, like, sometimes on a personal engagement with somebody, you feel, instead of actually participating in the conversation like you and I are doing now, it becomes a lot more of a process of, am I saying the right thing? Am I sitting the right way? Am I making the right eye contact? So instead of actually just bloody paying attention to the conversation and letting things happen, you've got all of these things, these checkboxes, and like, it develops anxiety. And I thought that meditation is a great way to sort of to sort of set that at ease. Although I haven't practiced it for a long time, I should probably get back to that.
You've got time now. Like, have some time in the mornings. No, it's a great practice. I'm a big fan, and it's I mean, it's been around for thousands of years in so many different cultures and spiritualities and all these things. It's like this universal idea. Like, oh, now I've forgotten his name, but it's the mathematician Blaise Pascal. He said all of humanity's problems stem from not being able to sit alone in a room by themselves. Like, that's it. It's like, because we can't be with ourselves. And therefore, we project onto other people all of our own crap, because we're not owning it. We're not sitting with it and seeing it for what it is. Like, so it's been for me like the most helpful and life-giving thing. One of my like baseline practice, baseline training naked.
So listen, we've seen that there's an uptake in with the hotlines, suicide hotlines and stuff over the last couple of weeks, especially. Apparently, the numbers are up to like 4,000 a day now. Which is quite intense. What is your message for somebody that's sitting there, that's going through this stuff right now, that's really feeling isolated, alone, deflated, concerned about their future? What is your message to them? So listen, we've seen an increase in the number of calls going into suicide hotlines over the last few weeks. I mean, the calls are up to almost 4,000 people, and that's quite intense. You know, people are obviously sitting at home. They've got these feelings of loneliness. They've got these feelings of failure. They've got these feelings of concern because they're not able to pay their rent or whatever the case may be, the school fees. And what message do you have for people that are sitting in this space right now?
So I think the most important thing to do is, the first thing to do is stop. Like, that's always what I tell just about everybody. It's like, just stop. Like, because at the moment we get lost, either in our minds or in real life, or, you know, get lost in the forest on top of the mountain or whatever, like, we tend to run faster. Like, and think that, you know, running faster is going to get us unlost quicker. But it doesn't work like that. The faster you run, actually, the more lost you get. So the first thing to do is to just stop. Like, stop and try and calm yourself and collect yourself. And either through like a mindfulness practice, or calling a friend, or connecting with somebody, or like reaching out to try and stop that spiral of going down, that spiral of worry. Because worry is also, like, worry and anxiety is a strange thing. Like, it sort of pretends like it's helping us. Like, because at least I'm worrying about it. Like, you know, I'm doing something about it. I'm worrying about it. Like, that's really important, but it doesn't really help. So you need to stop worrying, break that cycle by stopping. And then at the same time, like, also feeling that emotion, taking some time. It's like, this is weird, paradoxical thing. Like, you stop, calm yourself down, and then sit down and feel that emotion. Like, to really experience it. Because then after a while, when you sit with it and you can look at it and, like, almost like it's an object, you turn it around, what color is it, like, what shape is it, like, it tends to dissipate. It does its job, and then you can move forward. So I think that's, like, for me, the most important thing to do is to stop and try and calm yourself and just deal with that emotion, go through it, recognize it, allow it to do its work, and then let it go. Right? And when it comes back again, because it will, like, it will, and then you can do that again and again and again. And the more practice you get, the easier that then becomes. And then I think the most important thing as well, if you're in that kind of space, is to obviously reach out and speak to somebody. Like, just talk about it and voice what's actually happening, and, like, reach out to the community and people that support you and people that love you, so that they can actually help where they can. I think that's really, really important. And then to slowly start building joy back into your life again, into, like, the small things. So it may sound silly, because, like, people are going, I need to pay school fees, I need to pay the rent. What the hell are you talking about? Like, joy. So when your mind is in a happy place, in a joyful place, you can actually be a lot more creative. When you're in a stressed and anxious space, you don't have access to that creative kind of energy and powers. So you need to be in a happy or in a good space in order to be creative. So there's, like, a couple of practices and stuff that I do or recommend that people do to, like, just build joy back into their lives. And just, like, for, like, a really simple one is just to be grateful. Like, so one of the practices I do every single morning is I do not get up out of my bed until I'm grateful. Right? Sometimes it takes a while. Like, so I'm, like, lying there going, Tuesday. So it takes a while, and not to be grateful for any specific thing. Like, not to be for great things as well, but, like, just to be grateful for being. Like, that you exist. Like, that's, like, the baseline of gratitude. Like, so you can just, that you are here, that you are able to experience this. Like, a friend of mine, his name is Simon, and we take people on retreats. And then a part of the retreat is, like, you fast for, like, 4 days. You fast, you sit alone up in a mountain, you create, like, a liminal space, and you sit alone up in the mountain for 4 days, and then you fast, you drink only water. And he always tells people, like, before, when we're prepping to go out, he says, and when you get really super hungry like that, really feel that hunger. It's like, because you're never going to be that hungry again. Like, which is such a, like, weird way to think about it. But, like, also, like, in this time, this hasn't happened in, like, 100 years. Like, we get to experience this.
Yeah.
This is something that will go down in history. This is something that our children's children will say, were you part of the coronavirus lockdown? How was that? Was insane. Like, what did you do? And you had these stupid little phones that you had to plug in, and like, so, and we can go, well, what we did was, we get to do this.
Yeah.
And I think to experience all of life, we get to do this, and to be grateful just for that. Like, we get to experience the beauty and the pain, and both are necessary, right? So, and that's what like a full, I think what it means to live like a full, complete life, and to experience all of it. Because in both those things, in both beauty and pain, there's a gift for you.
Yeah.
Like, the one is not better than the other.
Yeah.
And so like, stop, feel everything, start to build like little pieces of joy back into your life by being grateful. Yeah. And like, there's another practice that I do, like an informal practice. So formal practice is like sitting down, meditating, like sitting on the floor. That's like formal practice. Informal practice is like me lying in bed thinking that I'm waiting till I'm grateful, or generating gratitude. Another one that I love is a noting joy. So I got this from like Chade Meng Tang. He's like a mindfulness guy from Google. And it's that moment during the day when you just, for like a second, you feel good. Like, you get into the shower, and Chade Meng Tang uses this example, like, you get into the shower and the warm water hits your body. Like, that feels good, right? For everybody.
Yeah.
Like, having a full stomach, that feels good. Having like your first like sip of coffee, that feels so. Like, but the key is we jump over those moments too quickly. So the practice is, when you feel that really good moment, even if it's like completely silly, like feeling grass under your feet, then just hold on to it for like 10 seconds. 10 seconds, that's it. Just hold on to that like joy for like 10 seconds and like internalize it. Yeah. And you'd be surprised how powerful that is. Yeah. Like, just doing that throughout your day, when you're seeing the sunrise, you're seeing a beautiful cloud, when you're seeing your kid, when you, like, there's so many like tiny little joy moments that you just make a note. You go, oh no, you just hold that. Oh, this feels nice. Like, this is good. Yeah. And all of a sudden they increase, because you're going into like a heightened state of semiotic awareness, like reading the signs. So it's like when you buy a new car, and then all of a sudden everybody has that car, right? Or we want a new car, and then all of a sudden that's all you see. Yeah. Like, I keep on telling my wife, I keep on seeing like that big Audi. I think it's a sign. I think we should buy it. Like, but so the more you note joy, the more you go into that heightened state of semiotic awareness, and the more you'll see it. And the more you see it, the happier you will be. The happier you are, the more creative you are. Yeah. The more creative you are, the more tools you can make to get yourself out of this hole.
Amazing.
So, like, and it's so profoundly simple. Yeah. And it just takes those little like disciplines to like fix it. But it all starts with stopping and feeling that freaking pain, because you can't avoid it. It doesn't like help to drown it in alcohol or in exercise or in work or in like shouting at your wife and kids, or like, you have to own it and feel it. Like, that's like the biggest thing, or the start of it.
Yeah, that's profound, man. And I love what you said. It's the simplicity. It's the little simple things in life that are always have the most meaning or the most value, or the things that you tire of the least, or the slowest, you know. Yeah. It's these things that are so complex and so like, you know, and made up and artificial, that you tire from them really quickly, and they lose you. That feeling, you lose that feeling very quickly. Listen, man, it's been an amazing conversation. I've really enjoyed talking to you. Guys, if you're watching this, go out and buy Pierre's book. It's called Training Butt Naked. Just kidding. It's called Train Naked. And we're gonna pop the link into this video, so you just got to shoot through there and take a look at it. Pierre, again, thanks, man. It's been a really cool conversation.
Cool, dude. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, pleasure, man. Pleasure. Hopefully we chat again soon, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
Cheers. Take it easy.
Ciao.